In previous episodes, we've looked at the importance of fitness training for football players. Today, we're going to be looking at the importance of team training and how a good session from the manager can improve players' performance and team morale. We'll be speaking to different experts to get a better idea of what good training looks like at a football club, how this is important to the development of players, and finding out how much planning and preparation goes into each training session. I wanted to hear what Jawad Al Jebouri, the young Eskilstuna manager, had to say about this.
You need to connect your trainings and the way you plan your trainings to the style of play that you want as a manager. And it's very important to push on those details that you think is important to succeed with the way you want to play. Our trainings is very periodized based on the opponent we want to play in the weekend, how we want to approach them. We try to set the training based also on the load we want, how far away we are from the next game, how far away it was from the last game. Try to manage the load so we don't overtrain our players and not also undertrain them. It's very important to keep finding that balance of how you keep your team fit and also as prepared as possible for the next game. It's also important to explain for your players the purpose of the training, of the drills that you're setting up, what you want to try to achieve, and again push the right buttons to reach that goal that you're trying to set up for every training that you have. When the players understand the purpose of the training and really commit themselves to the drills, trying to achieve high quality, high pace also in the drills that you do. You want to always try to bring up the tempo when you do the certain drill. Then that's a good training. That's when you feel that you have achieved your goal that you set for that day, and then you can move on to the next one. I want to see my players commit. I want to see them take responsibility, find solutions also themselves, because when players are forced to use their own brains, that's when you know they can also solve the certain situations that appear on the pitch in the games, because you cannot be out there during a game and tell them what to do at that moment. They have to understand the game well so they can solve it on the pitch. I've always been self-taught, always dared to fail in my ideas. I always brave in trying to try new things, and from there on I always try to develop my way of thinking, how I set up the training, how I plan them, how I try to always maximize our form for the next game over a complete season, trying to periodize it as good as possible. You make many mistakes, but you always learn from them also, and that's how I have developed during the years. It's important to have good colleagues that is an extra eyes on the pitch to help you see the details that you can miss when you look generalized over the whole pitch. They can also help with the individual training of players, setting individual plans, trying to maximize the most out of every individual, and also be there for the players, manage them, their needs. All those stuff can help you always take that extra step to reach your achievements. My advice to all up-and-coming managers, coaches, trainers who want to achieve something in their career is to work hard, put a lot of extra hours into your work, try always to develop, dare to make mistakes, take influences from many people, try to open your eyes for new ideas. But most important of all is very hard work. If it was easy, anyone would do it. It will not be easy. There will come many obstacles. There will come tough times where you feel that everything is pointless. You're not seeing results, but you have to keep on going. If you can't do that, then it's going to be very tough to succeed.
It was amazing seeing how things work at Eskilstuna, especially with their young Iraqi manager. However, Oribro are a huge club, and I wanted to get a greater insight into how things work there behind the scenes. We spoke to Amir Razak, the fitness coach, to get an idea of the planning and preparation that goes into each training session.
I meet with our physiotherapy, U1, and we go through the list with the players and who is able to train, and if they're able to train, what they can do, what they cannot do. So we decide the load for the players, and after that we meet with the coaches. We tell them the details of the players. I know how many minutes I was giving to the training. So usually I would give anything between 10 to 20 minutes at the start of the training. I look into what the next drill is. So if the next drill is intense, then I make sure the warm-up is going to be intense enough so the players goes to the next drill ready. So a lot of communication between us and the coaches. So I work with load management and designing the training through the week. Which day is the most intense? Which day is the recovery? How can we maximize the fitness level just before the match? Because the match is the showtime for us. So we wanted to make sure that the players are fulfilling their potential going to the match. That's very important. So I cannot load the players a day before the match because I want them to work hard. So sometimes you have to adjust and be smart with that, and work a lot with injury and injury prevention programs, because prevention is better than curing. So you should work through daily routines on preventing certain injuries that can cause the club and the player his career.
I wanted to find out just how important it is to have a philosophy and a culture in the running of a football team. I also wanted to see what the manager had to say about Ahmed Yassin and Jilwan and their importance to the team.
No, but I think always as a team and as a coach, the preparations before the game, both when it comes physically, tactically, mentally, they are crucial. We had a good training week, which gave us the chance to load the player a bit more, and also we got the chance to work with some concepts in the way that we want to play our football. For instance, one thing that we could do now when we had a little bit more time, that we decided to work during the week, how we can defend with the back four and with the back five.
How important is it to have that stability, to have experienced players like Jilwan and Ahmed Yassin?
No, but of course they are crucial. I mean, they are the players that when things go well, they can bring even more energy, but also keep their feet on the ground for the players. But also when it goes against us, when we lose games, and the fans has been disappointed from game to game when we lose, they have those experience, so they have no problem in facing that, and that of course gives more comfortability to the other players, so they can look up to them. And also what I see with them is that they, by being a role model, the young kids or older players, they learn so much from them. And I like very much an environment where the players learn from each other. Then it's just not the coach telling them that if a young kid comes in, he's 17 years old, I can tell him some certain things. You need to move like this, you need to behave as an athlete, you need a lot of things where you need to develop. But I think if you have players in the team that are those experienced players, but also are not fat and lazy, players that still wants to reach something, then from the younger players, just to look at them instead of me saying, or combined with me saying, gives a perfect chance for them to grow.
When do you think is the best age for a football player, young football player, to understand all the tactics? Like, let's say, which age you will start, or you see more you focus on tactics more than skills itself?
No, but I think it should be implemented quite early in the age, and then slowly be developed more and more. But technique in terms of technique can be just technique, but technique in terms of in high speed, in having good technique in crucial moments, those things within the taking decisions in a structure, in tactics. I think that's a different thing. So I think it should be implemented quite early. Younger player at the age of 10 or earlier even, or like 11, 12, there should be implemented more of the understanding of the game, like pressing, covering, concepts of the stages in football, how it works should be more focused on than rather just winning the football game.
How would you describe yourself as a coach?
Difficult question, but I would say if what I want to be a coach that is very involving. I think that both the coaching staff and the players that must feel that their word is important. They can certain things, they can have their opinions, because I think then it becomes you become much stronger if you feel that you've been a part of deciding something. But on the other hand, I also want to be a coach where it's very clear that this is the framework that we work from. Within the framework, you can decide and you can choose, but don't go outside the framework. And also, I like very much to be close to the players. As a coach, I like to have a chat with them as much as possible, speak about how they do in personal life and so on. So the humanistic side, I think it's important.
Would you say it's more important to have a system and then you bring in players that fit this system, or would it be more important to have a set of players and make a system fit them?
I would say the most important thing is that you have principles that you feel that you can stand behind. Principles when it comes to attacking, defending, transition, that you really believe is the best ones to get success in terms of results. Then when it comes to the positioning, I can see my thought is to have the players on the pitch in certain spaces where they can benefit more. So for instance, if we have a guy that is very fast, I want him to be the guy that stretches. If it's a fullback or if it's a winger, it doesn't matter so much. Of course, we want to have a player that is good between the lines. It can be number 6, it can be 8, it can be number 10. So that is like the ambition. Then I am ready to adjust a little bit to that if we can find a player that is top. But I would say more that we have our principles that we can work from, then we position the players a little bit from the opponents, but also from the qualities of the players.
And one thing to mention, and you probably saw it, part of the intensity is actually planning the practice. Because when you prepare it as coaching, the stuff, the players will be ready for you. So the transition from each practice to practice, what to do, there is no standing. We don't want the players to have too much, they're waiting. So it goes again to planning. And you have seen this week that we meet hour and a half earlier every single morning, even though sometimes we know exactly what we're doing, but we're still meeting because we don't want to miss anything. And as you mentioned, like Örebro is an amazing club, and I think they're a great club, but imagine at bigger level, imagine Man United, imagine Arsenal, imagine this. So it goes together. The planning, if you plan properly, you're ready, you're going to have a good training. If you do not plan properly, most likely your training will not be intense, it won't be good. So the intensity of a training, it has to go with planning and the coaching the stuff.
We had an interesting discussion earlier regarding youth player development.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about this in Sweden?
Yeah, the Swedish model is that kids and youth player, everybody's allowed to play. We pay it through the tax, so the clubs get some support that you can have football schools. And when kids can play, it's good for our club, because it doesn't matter in Sweden if you come from a Swedish family or if you come from an Iraq family. Everybody is allowed to play football here in Sweden.
Modern day football sees technology playing a huge role in training and in team development. It's used to track players' data, areas covered on the pitch, and things like XG. Örebro used 2 cameras at the top of the stadium which monitor all games and training sessions. This is then used by staff to improve performance of the players and the team.
So as you see here, we're using a system called Spedeo. They use it here in the clubs in Sweden. And this system allowed us to have a clear picture on how the team moves and how the player keep their position. In this clip, we're going to speak and discuss about the build-up from the defensive line and how we have our players to move together and create the space and to play the ball going forward. Midfielders an option to play the ball back or play to the side, or if he can hit the long ball into the space, or if he have a quality, individual quality to turn and to go forward. The player has a clear picture on what they're supposed to do.
So that's a little bit about how football operates in the real world, especially with regards to training. If you've learned anything interesting, please drop a like, comment below, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to find us on social media, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook, with @IraqFootballPod being our username. We hope you enjoy our content, and we look forward to sharing our next episode very, very soon.